Think about this. How can two people read the same thing and come to a different conclusion? A big part of the problem here lies with the person doing the reading. Imagine going on a journey to a faraway place. There are factors that dictate how you'll pack your bag: duration, how long you'll be there; motivation and goals, why are you going there; familiarity, how much do you think you know about it; and expectations, what you think about it. Similarly, as we get ready to take a trip through a book, especially a relevant book, we should realize that we don't do so empty handed. We carry baggage with us. That is to say, we are not totally neutral or objective readers. We are equipped with preconceived notions and influences which we consciously or subconsciously apply to the text. I'm referring here to our pre-understanding, which may be good or bad, helpful or harmful, accurate or inaccurate. When our thought processes cause us to subconsciously but systematically distort and misinterpret the information in the text, leading to an inaccurate view of the text and irrational decision making, it is best to characterize these areas as cognitive biases. There are many of them, but I'll share a few examples of how they affect the process of reading. You may be so accustomed to hearing a particular interpretation of a text that it's difficult to even consider an alternative. I've certainly had the experience of hearing a sermon preached on a verse I've read many times, and the speaker makes a point that's so clear and obvious that I think to myself, how did I miss that? We tend to interpret a book a certain way if we get one piece of background information before another, if we hear a particular interpretation repeated enough times, if other people in our circle think about it in a certain way, if the text is written in a way that does not readily appeal to us, if what the text says elicits a strong emotion in us, if a particular interpretation matches with what we already think about the topic, especially if we're unaware of how little we actually know about the historical and cultural context in which it was written. In fact, there's a tendency to understand and evaluate the text according to our own cultural context. We don't like adopting views that interfere with our own state of affairs, even if our current behavior results in an undesirable outcome. We like to focus on the positives while ignoring the negatives, especially if the latter holds us personally accountable instead of blaming our environment. We tend to put more weight and attention on things that stand out to us, even if it is a relatively trivial matter in relation to everything else being said in the text. We like to think that generic information applies to us specifically, and we prefer simplistic explanations for how the world works. We don't like discussions about delayed gratification. Yet, we overestimate the level of control we have over our own impulsive behaviors. We often jump to conclusions and are quick to compare sources, even before getting a full, honest reading of the text. Evidence often doesn't make sense to us unless we thought the event was possible in the first place, and we are prone to finding associations between texts that don't exist. There are several ways to cure cognitive biases, the most important of which is humble awareness. Unfortunately, many of us experience a bias blind spot where we readily recognize the impact of biases on others, but fail to see it in ourselves. To add to all of this, there are still other variables to consider. The differences in natural skills and spiritual giftings matter. The differences in depth of contextual knowledge and experience in the area matters. The differences in personal interest and effort matters. And the differences in character and spiritual maturity matter. Furthermore, it is important to acknowledge that most books, even the Bible, don't address all topics with the same degree of emphasis or clarity. Finally, despite all that I've said thus far, sometimes the reason why we come to different conclusions is simply because someone misread the text. Take 1 Timothy 6:10 for example, which many people misquote as saying, "Money is the root of all evil." So, with all this in mind, what do? How do we actually go about reading a book? For the answer to this, you'll have to join us in our next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our website at www.maygp.org or follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. Thank you for watching, and until we meet again, may grace proceed.